G'day and welcome to Doesn't Matter. There's been a lot of discussion lately about, in the ongoing saga of the tide turning against all the woke nonsense, about what constitutes an Australian. I'm biased because I'm an immigrant. I came here when I was 2 and my parents are immigrants. But I do understand it from the perspective of both of the two groups, both the ethnic nationalist and the civic nationalist. There is a rise of ethnic nationalism in multiple countries because of the woke, because of identity politics. Identity politics says your ethnicity, your sexuality, the unchangeable parts of you are everything. They are you. And certainly there's some truth to that. Your sexuality is an important feature of you. Your ethnicity is an important feature of you. Is it all of you? Is it even the most of you? No, not at all. There's far more to you than your sexuality or your ethnicity or your gender even. Okay? There's more to you than that. We're substantially more complex beings than that. So to identify an entire people according to their ethnicity or an entire gender according to their sex or an entire person according to their sexuality is insane. And that is the heart of identity politics. And unfortunately, ethnic nationalists fall into the trap of identity politics. They fall into the trap of identifying themselves in very rigid ways. Okay? I do not believe there is substantial evidence. I do not believe there is a reasonably good argument for ethnic nationalism in a pure form. Is there some support for tenets or elements of ethnic nationalism? Yes. And that is where I'm going to. A civic nationalist is, I think, a good compromise on the woke, let everyone in, do everything, all equal, all cultures are equal, all cultures are the same, everyone's equal, everyone's the same, homogenous tabula rasa insanity, crap, CRT nonsense that only a few decades ago would never have made past muster in any university in the world, and now is in virtually all of them. It's insanity. All right, we have been overtaken by madness. Nonetheless, civic nationalism is the answer to not wanting to fall into identity woke politics, which just leads to the absolute mess and catastrophe we have today, or ethnic nationalism. Well, we've been there before. Countries were mired in that for many, many centuries and millennia. It doesn't really go anywhere good. It leads to pogroms and pillages and Holocaust and all kinds of nasty stuff that we don't need to have. Unfortunately, so does identity politics. They end up meeting in the same place. They are the Ouroboros, the snake eating itself. Okay? Communism and fascism meet in the same place. Okay? Woke identity politics and ethnic nationalism, unfortunately, will eventually radicalize into more extreme forms until they meet in the same spot. And that is not a place any of us want to be. Civic nationalism is the answer. Civic nationalism says there is a particular flavor to a country. There is a particular flavor to that state. There's a flavor. You go to Nepal, there's no other place in the world like Nepal. It has its own flavor, its own language, its own culture. There's plenty of other people living there. There's Cambodians that live there. There's Tibetans that live there, quite a few now because of the horrors that China's inflicted on Tibet. There's Chinese living there, fleeing that realm. There's Indians living there. There's all kinds of people who live there besides the native Nepalese. But one of the things that you see in Nepal is that even those peoples bringing their own flavors, their own cultures, keeping to some degree, they all speak Nepalese. They all speak the language. Most of them wear the national garb. They partake of the national culture. They are part of the national culture. You will find Indians and other ethnicities in the Nepalese military and police. because in that country, there is a dominant culture. And actually, countries that don't have dominant cultures, Libya, as a good example, fall apart almost universally. I mean, historically, it's hard to find a country with more or less even ethno-nationalist differences where that country stayed together. I mean, if you look at the countries of Serbia, Herzegovina, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Slovenia, Croatia, and Serbia, they were all welded into one country under communism. And we saw how well that worked. It had to be maintained by force. And the minute that they were able to separate, they did. Okay? So why didn't they just blend into one big, beautiful, homogenous Balkan mass? Why didn't we have this giant Balkan superstate that Tito and others had dreamed of, and the Europeans in that region, the Serbians particularly, had dreamed of for a long time? Why didn't it work? Because they're different. Because they do have differences. You know, even though the Serbians and the Croatians are more Catholic than Orthodox, but there's plenty of Orthodox in Croatia as well. The Serbians are Orthodox. The Bosnians tended to be a mix of Christian and Muslim. Okay, Slovenians are, again, probably a mix of Catholic and Orthodox. So you'd think that with that kind of mix, there'd be some level of compatibility. No, they each have distinct cultures. Even when they have similar religions, they have distinct cultures. They have their own dialects, their own languages, their own dialects. Croatian is not Serbian. It's similar. There's similarities. Same as Slovenian. They all vary. There are variations. And those variations are very important to those people. They're important to the people living there. And if you went into any of those countries and tried to enforce Serbian ethos on Croatian, you would have problems. And we've accepted that. We've accepted that. People have pushed, the same woke people have pushed for a multipolar world and less of the big boys pushing down everyone else, and a more multipolar, diverse world, okay? Yet at the same time, within their own nations, within Western nations in particular, we're told, no, multinationalism, tabula rasa on culture, and the indigenous white Anglo-Saxon sort of Western culture can fuck off. It can just go away. Filthy colonists. This is the message we've been getting for 2 decades now. We're filthy colonists, all right? And we can go away. Now, half my ancestry, which I'm very proud of, is Danish, Irish, and English. And I'm very proud of that. Okay? And the other half is North African, and probably half of that is, again, European, because of the massive influence of Europe on the coast of North Africa. So I identify very strongly with Western culture. And the reason my parents came here is so that they identified strongly with Western culture and wanted to come and live here. So Australia has a flavour. If you want that flavour, please come here. If you don't want that flavour, please stay away. Don't come. We'll only have to deport you one day, most likely, anyway. Please don't come. But if you want to come here and be with us, I welcome you. Come and be with us. Brown, black, white, yellow, green, Martian, give a shit. Be called out Martians, actually, if they existed anymore. They probably died out billions of years ago. But nonetheless, you get my point. Anyone's welcome here who wants to be Australian. If you come here with colonist intentions, if you come here sneaking in from Russia to try and turn recreate the Russian Revolution here, well, you can fuck off. Okay, you should be hung from the highest yardarms. Okay, communists are not welcome. If you're an Islamist and you want to come here to bring the great global Ummah and you want to take this country over, again, I have a rope for you. Okay, go away. You're not welcome. If you want to come here and be my brother, be my sister, okay, and be friendly and loving and support parliamentary democracy, or maybe hopefully one day direct democracy, that'd be really cool. We could do it in the digital era. We could certainly do more of it. But you want to support democracy, capitalism, freedom. You want to support the messy but functional culture that we have. You want to fucking have a shrimp on the barbie with me, or whatever it is you like to happen to have or like on the barbie. You can put your own stuff on the barbie. I don't care. Just come to the barbie. And that's all Aussies want. Come to the fucking barbie. Be with us. Don't live in a ghetto. Don't turn every suburb you live in into Lakemba. Or whatever other suburbs, other nations and other civic ethnicities have converted their areas to. Please don't do that. Come and be with us. Mix with us. This is not the 1960s where the Greeks and Italians who worked very hard to come to break in, worked very hard to become Australian. All right, and had to fight for it. You won't have to fight to be one of us. You don't have to fight. Just be one of us. All right? Your religion is yours. Very few Australians will ever adopt Islam. Very few Australians will ever adopt Buddhism. It's just not going to happen. And if you believe that, you're allowed to believe that. That's cool. It's delusion, but you're allowed to believe it. Don't enforce it. Don't try and make it happen. If it's going to happen, guys, it's going to happen. All right? If you really do believe that your way of thinking is eventually going to dominate the world, which has never ever happened in history, then you keep believing that. Don't enforce it. Let the Almighty decide on that. How about we agree on that? You let the Almighty decide what happens, and you just keep being a good Australian citizen. Okay? Fight for this country if you need to. Anyone who comes here should have a fair go. I'm an ethnic national. I'm a civic nationalist, not an ethnic nationalist. I believe passionately that anyone can be Australian, but it's not an easy path. You have to give up certain things. You have to reprioritize certain things, and this country must be your priority. Okay? It doesn't have to be in the way of your faith. But anything that comes with you into this country, including your religious beliefs, have to accept one thing. You're coming into someone else's country. And if you want to be part of that country, then you adopt our civic ethos. We have the best ethos in the world in terms of running a country. It's why Western countries are so successful. It's why everyone wants to come here. Because it's good. And you know it. Don't bullshit yourself. You know it. If you're an ethnic and you're a migrant and you've come here, you came here because it's better. We all know it's better. You're not supposed to say it's better. You're supposed to say all cultures are equal. Bullshit. Go and live in Somalia. Go and live in Eritrea. Go and live in places around the world that many of my family, okay, and my people have come from. And they will tell you stories about what it's like in Lebanon, what it's like in those places. They're shitholes, and for very good reasons. They came here to be better. They came here to get away from religious nonsense, religious fundamentalism. They came here to get away from political corruption. Though you can never get rid of all of that. But it's a lot better here than it is elsewhere. They came here to get away from violence. They get away from people trying to take over. They came here because they heard that you could vote shit in and out without guns. When people disagreed, they didn't kill each other. They didn't go to war. They didn't wall each other off. They didn't ostracize each other. That people were mates and friends and even married people who disagreed with each other politically. What a fucking awesome tradition. Only in the West. You've only seen that in the last 1500 years in the West. Nowhere else in the world. You get killed for that shit elsewhere throughout most of history. But here in the West, we have allowed that. Civic nationalism, pride in one's country, pride in the culture. You can keep elements of your own culture. I'm quite proud of some aspects of my Arab as well as my European culture. I'm very proud of it. And there are parts of it I would swap in a heartbeat for Western culture, and I did. I gave up certain things about my old culture because they were inferior to the new culture. And I kept others that were still pretty good. That's what we do when we're migrants. We come across and we go, well, there's some shit about my culture, or shit about some of the culture I come from that's not so good. And I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to push that aside and I'm going to take on this new culture. Democracy, beautiful. Equality, beautiful. Human rights, women's rights, children's rights, beautiful. And it also means people running around with blue hair being nutbag activists. It means we get wokies. It means we get things that we don't like in society, and there are so many things that we might not like in society, but you don't get an egg without, you don't get an omelette without breaking a few eggs. We cannot have the good shit without the uncomfortable shit. Okay? Whatever you're uncomfortable about in society, if it's not actually hurting you, forget everyone else. You're not here to save everyone else, including your own kids. If it's not hurting you, and it's not, say, hurting your direct family, leave it alone. And make sure that what you consider as constituting hurt is actually hurt, and not some religious precept or ideological precept that you want to tack onto your kids like they're fucking suitcases. They're not, they're people. Treat them like it. They can teach them well, teach them to think, teach them to be logical, and then let them go to make up their minds. They're going to make different decisions to you, that's for sure. Get used to that idea, especially in Australia. And if you don't want that, go back to the country that you came from. Go back to whatever country has rigid, tight, constrained rules and doesn't let you out of them. But if you want to come here and be free, man, I welcome you. And if you don't want to be free and you want to bring in any kinds of rules, whether they're criminal behavior, okay, that not copacetic with a free society, or religious fanaticism or political fanaticism, if you're a communist or an Islamist or a criminal, well, I have one answer for you. Fuck off. Go away. And if you don't, at some point this country is going to come to its senses and you will be made to. And I will support that. Fucking 100%. I will support that. All right? Everyone is welcome except the fools, except the fanatics. If you're a fanatic, if you're a fool, if you're a lazy crim who wants to live on welfare and steal from us, go away. You're not welcome. You want to come here and work and make money and live well and fulfill your dreams and be a good citizen and have a barbie with me? Let's do it. Let's do it. Oos.